Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 301. Today we're going to look at the difference between notorious and infamous. Actually, this one really is more difficult than usual because clearly both words mean famous for something bad. And I do even think that there's a lot of even native speakers that kind of use them interchangeably and don't see much of a difference. But from research, I can find some subtle differences where some might be more likely to be used in one situation than another. So that's what I'll cover here. All right, well, first of all, of course, notorious means, well known for something bad, something discreditable, something that would bring down your reputation, basically, make your reputation or your image seem worse. Let's continue here. Some dictionaries claim notorious is more likely to use for people in the present time. So if you're still alive right now, and you're talking about somebody that's still alive right now, like a notorious bank robber, for example, we'd probably be more likely to say a notorious bank robber than an infamous bank robber. That's robbing banks right now in the present time or the recent past, not too long ago. Okay, infamous tends to be used more for former times, maybe more like hundreds or several hundred years ago, or possibly even thousands of years ago. It's a little more likely. So there's some subtle differences where you're more likely to see one than the other. But again, since it's so close and since a lot of native speakers almost think of them as the same, don't be surprised if you see examples that would go against what they say here. Okay, let me continue though. Some other experts claim infamous is stronger and that it carries a connotation of evil or wicked. Remember, connotation, that means those are feelings that's connected to the word. So I think in situations where we're saying somebody's famous for something bad in kind of an evil or wicked way, infamous would be more likely used. That's what they're saying. When using infamous, the speaker is often making a moral judgment, too, that they're judging how terrible they are. Some dictionaries claim infamous is more literary than notorious. It means that you're more likely to see it written than spoken. That's what literary means. So you'll see it in older articles or written article, old books or historical documents or whatever, than notorious. All right, and let's look at some examples which would, reflect these notes or these tips here. She is notorious for being late. All right, well, this is probably present time. This is bad. It hurts somebody's reputation, not particularly evil. So we wouldn't normally say she is infamous for being late. We're a little more likely to say she is notorious for being late. Lawyers are notorious for not being truthful, even though, to be honest, that's probably part of their job too. But still, they got a bad reputation for that. And a lot of people often joke about how you can't trust lawyers and lawyers always lie. Okay. And again, this is a little more likely to be present time too. The Paris Metro is notorious for pickpockets. Yeah. It's got a bad reputation that it's had a lot of pickpockets over the years on the metro, on their subway system. So again, this is more like a present time. This is also bad. This is a crime. I don't know if I would put it I don't think I'd say the wicked or evil category, but it's still bad. It still hurts somebody's reputation. Let's look at number 4. Dracula or Vlad the Impaler. Yeah, this is actually, some people say this is where I guess Bram Stoker, was he the first one that wrote the first Dracula, where he kind of got the name from. This was actually a real prince who was very, very evil. Vlad the Impaler, I think he used to like to impale his victims. I think he crucified them and stabbed them, and there were stories about where maybe he might drink some of their blood and dip bread in their blood. So yeah, that sounds a bit evil. And really pretty terrible. So you might be a little more likely to use infamous. He was hundreds of years ago too. It was a long time ago. So for several reasons, infamous would probably be more likely to be used here. So Dracula or Vlad the Impaler was infamous for the way He tortured his enemies or killed them. And the last one here. Benedict Arnold was an infamous traitor. Yeah, this was during the Revolutionary War. Benedict Arnold was always famous for that. So somebody might be making a moral judgment against him. He betrayed the country, betrayed, the people he was supposed to be with. So, again, and this was also, hundreds, so at least about, several hundred years ago. So, okay, well, anyway, I hope you can see somewhat of a difference. Like I said, it's a little tough because even in some native people's mind, they don't often see a big difference between these two. But these are just some hints where one is more likely to be used than the other. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.